I loved horseback riding, eventing to be more specific, skiing, and spending time with my friends and family. Then it all changed. I went to the doctor to have a large bump on my thigh checked out. I was told what I thought might be a bad bruise had a high probability of being cancer. After many tests, 2 biopsy surgeries for my lung and my leg, and a stressful couple of weeks, I was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer known as Ewing sarcoma. There are approximately 250 cases diagnosed a year in the U.S. My treatment included 14 rounds of chemotherapy, during which I was hospitalized for 2 to 5 days in a row for each round. I've undergone surgery to remove the tumor and replace my femur with 5 inches of titanium and a new hip ball. I can now call myself the titanium girl. I've had multiple MRIs, CT scans, PET scans, and x-rays. I've also had multiple blood transfusions, and I've been poked so many times I can't remember how many. I've used a wheelchair, walker, crutches, and a cane. I was in a back and leg brace that set my hip and leg for 7 weeks straight, 24 hours a day. I've spent 54 nights in the hospital and have gone to over 200 doctor's appointments. I will continue to get scanned periodically for the next 4 years. But this isn't a speech about me. I'm here today to talk about all of us kids at Seattle Children's Hospital. At my 8th grade graduation in June of 2013, I was asked to give a speech. I talked about what I had learned during middle school and what having cancer has taught me. Afterwards, a teacher came up to me and told me that I have a voice and not all kids with illnesses are heard. I didn't understand what she meant at first, but after spending so much time at the hospital, I began to understand. I started to look around and notice all the kids receiving different treatments at Seattle Children's Hospital. I wish all of you could meet us, but Seattle Children's is a hard place just to wander into. We range from the tiniest of babies to all of us teenagers. We speak many different languages and come from many different places. Some of us have similar diagnoses to me, and others are very different. Some have no hair, some have difficulty walking, and some have scars on their head, and others have difficulty speaking. I'll never forget the little boy, probably about 18 months old, who was learning to walk with a prosthetic leg. We would see him in physical therapy. He also had no hands, but he managed to hold a tennis ball, which if someone tried to take away, he would scream. Then there was a little girl who was often waiting in the oncology waiting room with me. She had some type of cancer. I could tell by the bald head. She loved it when my little sister would come along. They were about the same age, 6. My mom says it isn't right to just call us kids. We are really warriors. Our surgeries and treatments that we undergo are long, hard, and grueling. I don't know if we are warriors, but I do know we are strong. One of my favorite quotes is, "You don't know how strong you are until being strong is your only option." Some days we cry a lot. I've definitely done my fair share, but we battle our way through each and every day. I spent a lot of my time on the cancer floor in Building Hope. One of the children there had just received a bone marrow transplant during one of our earlier chemo stays. My dad would see her mom again and again as we would come back every 2 weeks for more chemo. At my last chemo, that girl had been in the hospital for 112 days straight. We lost track of when she was finally discharged. Such amazing strength, a true warrior, but one that few people get to see. I guess the one thing we all at Seattle Children's Hospital have in common is that we are unlucky and lucky at the same time. Unlucky that we all have diseases, such as cancer, which we had no chance of preventing. Some of us were born with our diseases, and others have gotten sick along the way. Sometimes even the doctors can't tell us why we are so sick. We haven't had the chance to smoke too much or exercise too little. We're just kids. But we're lucky that we have Seattle Children's to give us hope for the future. My oncologist is Dr. Hawkins, who is the leading U.S. expert in sarcomas, the type of cancer I have, and Dr. Jensen, who is redefining the way we think about treating cancer with T-cell therapy. Not to mention all the other doctors and nurses at Seattle Children's who are amazing. They never stop giving 110%. I've been asked a lot of questions. It was hard to hide when I had a scarf over my head, no eyelashes or eyebrows. People ask what it's like to have cancer. That's easy. It sucks. Then they ask me if I know why I got cancer. In 8th grade, we had a speaker come from Africa. He was living in Rwanda, running an orphanage. When the genocide in Rwanda occurred, the U.S. government told all U.S. citizens to vacate Rwanda. He sent his family home, but made his decision to stay and help the orphans, as well as had villagers in his house. I was really moved that day. I had decided that someday I would like to make a difference, just like him. Little did I know that day would come so soon. I've spent a lot of time thinking about why cancer happened to me. I didn't do anything wrong to deserve it. Ultimately, the only answer that makes any sense is that I can make a difference for kids like me who are so sick. Earlier this month, I was honored by receiving the award for Washington State's Outstanding Young Philanthropist of the Year. As I was standing on the stage accepting my award, I couldn't help but feel a little guilty. If it wasn't for all of you who care so deeply about Seattle Children's, I wouldn't have received the award. And if it wasn't for all of your generous donations, I may not have had the opportunity to be standing here today. I'm here today because of research. Research developed and tested the drugs that I took, the dosages I needed, and the length of my treatment plan. When I first started my chemo treatments, the hospital's new wing, Building Hope, was not yet open. That meant all of us cancer kids shared rooms while we were inpatient. I shared a room with one of the girls who would eventually receive the new T-cell therapy. At the time we were sharing a room, she wasn't doing well. My parents stuck my earbuds into my ear and told me to watch a movie. They did their best to shelter me from tough situations. They wanted me to remain as positive as possible. They never knew, but I turned down the sound that day. I listened to a teenage girl who was scared, frightened, and facing what she thought was the end of her life. The nurses called in one of the doctors to talk to her. The girl kept repeating over and over again, "What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work?" About 6 months ago, I saw that same girl in a Seattle Children's magazine with a huge smile on her face. She had received Dr. Jensen's T-cell therapy and was cancer-free. I believe that supporting research is important. It is so important to me that I created my own fundraising site called Cat's Crew to support bone cancer research. Did you know that cancer is the #1 cause of death by disease among U.S. children? Yet only 3 cents of every NIH funding dollar goes to childhood cancer research? Research is so important to me that I got up early to be here this morning, speaking on behalf of Seattle Children's Research Institute. They are researching all childhood illnesses and injuries, including diabetes, epilepsy, autism, cystic fibrosis, autoimmune disease, heart disease, and of course cancer. Can you imagine a day when everyone has a chance to survive cancer without the use of chemotherapy? I can, and Dr. Jensen can too. My godmother gave me the necklace I'm wearing today. It's a simple heart with the word hope engraved on it. She also gave one to each of my younger sisters. The dictionary defines the word hope as a feeling of expectation and desire for a great thing to happen. Hope is such a great word because it can mean different things to certain people. To my littlest sister, hope means that my mom packs a treat in her lunchbox. To my middle sister, hope means that I never get sick again. She missed her big sister. To me, hope means that I'm the last kid to undergo 9 months of intense chemotherapy, the last kid to throw up uncontrollably in the hospital, the last kid to see her best friend in the hospital lose her hearing as a side effect of chemotherapy, and the last kid to have to hear the news that one of the cancer kids has passed away. Hopefully, someday Seattle Children's will be a memory for me. A line from one of my favorite songs is "Every storm runs out of rain." I hope my storm is ending, but I'll never forget all the kids there. I've been at the hospital for too long to completely erase it from my memory, and I don't want to. Raising money for research helps me know that my struggle is worthwhile and that I can make a difference in the world. Because at the end of the day, all of us kids at Seattle Children's have the same wish, just to be kids again. Your donations today don't just fund pediatric research, they make wishes come true. My new motto is "The time is now." And there has never been a better time because this morning, all of our donations, up to $75,000, will be matched. We need to take advantage of all of that money and put it to work. I want to start out by donating $100 of my own money. I write articles about my cancer, and each time the article gets published, I get paid. That's automatically a $200 donation with the matching. Please help me by adding to my donation, because together we can make a difference. On behalf of all of us kids at Seattle Children's, thank you.